Hey guys, so we're going to start building this. Okay, I created a new user. If you check the preview, you saw that we only had a user. So let's log out and let's log in with my account. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Create account. Okay, it's not creating actually, it's just logging in. I forgot to change that. So I updated the images. Well, let's say edit post and update this one. Choose file and add. I think I have one. Okay, this one that it was there before. Update. This should be fast. Isn't okay? Isn't that big? So let's just wait until this one is done, and it should redirect us. Okay, it redirects us, and we can see the changes. Also, I updated this. Let's return that to the state on what it was. Okay, so you can see it updated. We can log out and we can click new post. You can see just redirects us, okay, to this login. And if I go to a post, let's go to this one, we can see that we don't have access to the edit and delete of the post. So I already created this one. Okay, this is just using npx create react app with the name of the app. So let me show you. Create react app, so you can see. You should already know this. You need Node.js installed in order to get this, since you're using npx. Okay, so this is what you're going to run. This is the name of your application. Okay, yeah, you will end with something similar to this. Okay, or with something like this. And of course, let me go to Node.js. Let's see if okay. I'm using version 12. Okay, I think 12.9, and you can just download this one if you want in order to use the command that uses npx. Okay, in case you don't have Node installed, or you can download this. Okay, but as I explained before, I'm using this one because Angular 8 requires Node 12 and above, so that's why I'm using this one. Okay, if you are not interested in Angular, well, you only need to download this version 10 and you should be fine. So let's go to React Router, so we can this one, so we can actually create a routing. So we're going to start right now. Okay, you just need to create your folder inside your desktop and the application. Okay, giving the name you want, and that's it. I'm using Git Bash. Okay, still using Git Bash. I will update my Windows version later so I can get the terminal, and I will be using that once I have that. So we need to install first this thing. Okay, that is the React router. So let's copy that. I think I had that. Let's paste it and let's say enter. So it should install. It shouldn't take that long. I already have my code open that we are going to follow. So just checking. Okay. Meanwhile, this thing is doing. Let's actually go to Firebase. I already have this. Okay. So you can go to the console and create a project. So let's say React context. If I make any type on the naming, just it doesn't mind. It's just the naming, just to show you. Let's say out. React context out. Continue. Not now. This is for the analytics. Create project. So this should create, and once okay, this is actually done. So, okay, I close that because I'm stupid. So let's say npm start. So this starts, okay, the local server. Well, if you see this thing, okay, because you might be thinking, what the hell is that? If you don't use Visual Studio, okay, this is the regular Visual Studio. This is Visual Studio Code, okay. So because I'm learning .NET, okay. So in case you want to see some .NET, we might have something maybe on October, okay, that I can show you a simple API with authentications, okay. So don't get confused with this. This is just Visual Code, but we are using, I mean Visual Studio, but we're using Visual Code. You can see the difference in the color, okay. So something is already running because I had my other code running. So let's Control C and let's restart this, okay. So we open this one with code. We already have the router installed. Okay, let's snap that in, and okay, it opens on Edge because I haven't changed that. So let's start adding the components. Okay, so only to have those. So let's say let's create a new directory or new folder that we're going to call components. Okay, let's hit enter, and here we're going to add the components we need, okay, just to have them so we can start creating those when we after we create the store. Remember that we are going to use context, okay, that that will allow us to have the state in kinda a global way, okay. So let's say new file, and let's start with create.js. We're just going to add this. The other one is login.js. This project is similar to what we have, okay. Sign in.js to what we have already in the channel. So if you are not interested in context, I have something with Redux, and if you are not interested in Redux, I have something with just React, okay. So I'm going to create another one that is the navigation, then another one that is the post.js, okay. And we need the last one that is going to be the main.js. So we only have created the files, and let's create a new folder. So this should be very okay. This is done. So let's I don't know what says there because it's cut. So we are going to do something first. Let's say database. We need to create a new database using Firestore. Okay. Next, we're going to change the rules. Okay, he already changes the rules, I think. So ready. The only one that doesn't change the rules is the storage. We're going to enable that in a second. We're doing this before we copy the configuration because once we have this, it adds the correct information into the JSON that we're going to copy, so we don't have to paste it back. So let's continue. We need to create now in source, okay, something that is going to be called context, and we're going to create another one inside source that is the reducers. Yep, reducers, and also one more. Okay, I created a file. No, let's delete that one. I wanted to create context. What is it? Components. Okay, context. I already have that. Reducer is the one that I don't have. So inside source, reducers. Okay, like that. And inside source, just say Firebase. So we have our configuration and functionality inside this folder. Okay, so let's see how this is going. Okay, that's cool. So let's go to storage. Just click ready, I think, I don't know, or start. So let's say yeah, next, and ready. We're going to change the rules in a second. So let's close this one and let's close this one. So let's I think we can start with the context. Okay, that is a little okay, let's start with this. We're going to start first with the sign in, okay, in terms of the component, sign in and login, that functionality, so we get that out of the way, since it's the most trickiest part of the application. Okay, I'm just waiting for this one to finish. Change the rules right now so I don't forget. So we remove that, we leave that as it is, and let's say publish, and we have that. So actually we can, well, let's keep that open. This is what, okay, let's remove this, and we are running now, okay, our new application. So let's go to context and create a new file. So let's start right away. Auth context.js. Okay. So what we're going to do now is to create our context that is going to be related to the authorization. Okay. So let's say import in React from React. Now here we're going to say, okay, we're going to leave the space, but we are going to need the reducer, or let's say Firebase Auth reducer. Okay, we're going to leave that space there on line 3, and we're going to create the context. So export constant auth equals to react.context, create context, sorry. We're not going to define anything inside here, okay? We're going to do it in a second. So let's say constant initial state. This is going to be the initial state for this context, and we're going to say user is going to be an empty object. After this, we're going to export the constant auth provider, okay, that is going to have these props, and it's going to render or return something. But first of all, let's go to the reducers and create what we need here. Okay, so let's go to reducers and let's create the auth reducer.js. I have all this thing open, so we're going to create first the context and then the routes. Okay, we haven't created the routes, so let's first have already the context for the auth so we can continue with the rest of the application. Okay, so we have this auth reducer inside our reducers folder, and what we need to do is say export constant Firebase auth, okay, like this, equals, or you can, well, this is just the naming, okay, you can change that, and this one is going to have the state and an action. Okay, now we're going to say switch, and we're going to check the action type. So this one is going to be case sign in. So return. Okay, we're going to return the state. And this user that is going to be the action payload, okay, for the case sign in, we're going to do the same for the case login. Login, return the same state, user, the mutated state, and the action payload. Okay, now we have another one that is going to be case logout, and what we're going to return here is return. Let's add a little space in there so it matches the rest. State, and of course also the user action payload. The difference is going to come when we actually add the logout functionality, and we're going to send something different, okay, than these two. But we are going to send something, okay? And the default case, that is just return the state. In case there are no changes on the state, return the state, okay? So we'll finish that. So this one is the reducer for the reducer that we're going to use inside this context, okay? So we need to go back to the out context and continue in line 12. Well, let's say line 13, constant, just to give some spacing. So we already have this context and we already defined the initial state. So let's continue with what is going to return this provider. Okay, so this is going to handle the authentication. We're going to return state and dispatch from React.useReducer. We need to pass here our Firebase out that we still don't have that. So let me just import this. Import from, let's add the file data reducers, and the only one we have that is the out reducer. So here we should get the Firebase out, okay? That is the one that we're going to use. So this React use reducer is going to take the Firebase out, okay, that is imported on line 3, that is our reducer, and it's going to take here the initial state. So that's what we're going to pass inside this use reducer. Now we're going to define this value, and it's going to have the state and the dispatch. Then we're going to send this into the components, okay, that are going to be wrapped inside this so we can access the state. Okay, so what we're going to say is return the out. We're going to call it out.provider. We pass the value here, that is this value, okay, with the state and the dispatch. And inside this, let me just add a little space in there so it looks good. We're going to say props.children. Okay, so this is going to take this is going to wrap our components and pass inside this value or state so we can access the initial state and the rest of the information. Okay, so we already have this out context that is created, and we already have the reducer that is going to check only the action type and return, okay, the mutated state and the user, and if nothing is changing, just return the state. Okay, so what we actually need to do now, let's first of all, since we are going to wrap the routes, okay, so let's actually create our routes. So let's add into source the routes.js. So what I'm going to do is import React from React and import from React Router DOM that we have that installed. We're going to return switch and we're going to return route. Okay. Here below this, we're going to add the components, and let's actually import. Well, we don't have the components yet, right? So let's only import our main from that components. We still don't have this, okay? Components and main. It's just giving me the autocomplete, but we actually don't have that. And import. Let's import only that. Okay. So we have something running. We already have the context, but we need to actually attach that to our application. Okay. So constant routes, because we need this, constant routes equals to a function that is going to render. So we need to do this. Okay. Switch. Let's tap this. Okay. And route exact path, the main path or the main route component equals, and we need to pass here main because that's the only one we have, and we need to close this. So after this, we're going to just export default routes. Okay, just like that. Because since we're going to work inside, let me just go to my index. Okay, we're going to do something here inside our index JS. That's why I added the routes. So let's just type this because why not? From, remember that we have our context, so we need to import that from context and out context. So this one is exporting something called Auth Provider. Okay, and we need to import from, well, React Router. We need to import the browser router. Okay, and after this, we are going to wrap our application first with the browser router and then with the Auth Provider. Control. Well, let's cut that and paste it here. Okay. So this is the way I'm going to build this, and we're going to create another context, okay, to manage the post, just to show you that, we can add the post inside the context state that only will refer to the post, and how to access that. It's just going to be an example that you can later, reuse or improve or whatever. So we have this. And we need, well, let's save and let's see if there's something wrong with this. No? Okay, nope, sorry. Let me check this. And okay, it's working fine. So now we need to, I have my navigation, so let's go to navigation. So we can create the navigation. Okay, I don't want to. Okay, I think we're going to cut this one here because we already created a few things, and it's been 25 minutes almost, but we still need to create some other things in order to show this. Okay, so we will continue in the next video.